I think Dallas's problem is not CeeDee Lamb. It's not Mike McCarthy, who is a good coach.
Yeah.
Their problem has been and is Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is a de facto GM,
Yep.
head coach,
Yep.
PR guy.
Yep.
He needs to shut up, and he never
Why?
does. He owns a team. He doesn't have to.
Why would he?
Jerry Jones is your problem in Dallas. I'm sorry.
It's hard to say a guy who built a Coliseum and has sold it out to every single venue. It is the most popular venue in the country.
Jerry's World is a showcase. It's a show place. It's beautiful. I get all that. I'm talking about Cowboy fans who really would rather have a win and play in the Cotton Bowl than continue to lose and watch Jerry make money hand over fist.
I mean, you can't blame Jerry Jones for choking in the playoffs. He clearly built a team that gets to the playoffs.
They get to a certain
he has
extent.
One of the best defensive players on his team with one of the best defensive staffs. He has one of the best wide receivers in the game right now and a quarterback that's played extremely well over his career.
And before that, they had
He constantly
Tony Romo.
builds teams that goes to the playoffs, so you can't really say he's the problem when you don't win in the playoffs. If you have a team built to go to the playoffs, then it's a crapshoot. Then it's coaching and it's players executing that coaching. That's not Jerry Jones' fault.
I think it's
Jerry Jones consistently builds teams that win.
Jerry undermines his coach.
How many times have the Cowboys had a top 10 pick in Jerry Jones' era?
Fine.
He constantly builds teams that
undermines his coach.
It's the same thing with the Packers. When you get to the playoffs and have a consistently winning team, at some point your coaches and players have to execute. The Dallas Cowboys continue to make it to the playoffs, so clearly Jerry Jones isn't building bad teams.
He's putting teams on that will win a certain amount of games when they get to the playoffs.
Okay, that's not Jerry Jones' fault. You can't say I'm undermining coaches when you continuously build a team that wins.
They win, but
what do you want more from a GM?
I want Jerry Jones to hire a good GM that will build him something.
He is a good GM. He continuously builds teams that win. I know we've had fun picking on him.
Jerry's mouth gets him in trouble more times than it bails him out of trouble. I just think he's an overarching presence on that team, and that team has done nothing since the mid-'90s. Nothing.
They had a bad streak there after the 90s era ended, for sure. But again, he consistently builds teams that goes to the playoffs. He consistently builds winning teams.
I'm not arguing that. He gets them to a certain point, but they've missed.
That's not Jerry's fault.
Always missing something that's going to get them over the top.
That's not Jerry's fault. That's not Jerry Jones' fault.
Jerry
Jones' responsibility as the GM is to put a team on the field that can win, and they do.
If he would do that and then walk away and let his coaches coach, that'd be great. But he doesn't do that either. He's always with the coaches and messing with them, and he undermines his coaches.
I don't think messing is the exact word you're looking for there.
He undermines them.
How?
By letting players go and talk to him directly, by listening to other people and just kind of isolating his coach.
The players being able to go to Jerry is a different conversation, okay? But at the same time, this guy continuously builds teams that win.
Okay.
He constantly has receivers that are performing extremely well.
Sure.
He consistently has a quarterback that's built to win.
Do they have that wide receiver in the house and playing at this point?
They have CeeDee Lamb. They haven't signed him yet.
They could have signed him weeks ago.
They could have, and that's a mistake. But, dude, we watched Devontae Adams get walked out of the building.
Well, and we ripped Gutekunst for that. I'm not arguing that. I mean, I'm talking about Dallas right now.
Every team has that. Look what San Francisco's doing with Brandon Ayuk right now.
Dallas is the guy.
That's just the business side of the game.
I get it. Dallas is always, it's more about Jerry than it is about the star. And they always say it's about the star. No, it's not. It's about Jerry.
It is in his mind. Yeah. For sure. But I'm just saying, if you look at Jerry Jones' track record for drafting good talent, he's consistently drafting good talent.
Is it him that's doing it, or is he actually?
He's the GM.
His son has been doing it for the last few years.
Well, that's fine. Then his son's a great GM. He's listening to his son, which is a great thing an owner does. But I'm just saying, throughout Jerry's time, except for a small window in the late 90s, the Cowboys have had winning teams.
But they've never gotten close to
That's not Jerry's fault.
I'm going to put a lot of it
If
on
you
Jerry.
build a team that can make it to the playoffs, it is up to the coaches and the players to take it the
If
rest
you're-
of the way.
Everything I hear from listening to Cowboy fans is the coaches are always feeling like they don't have control.
Okay, we're talking about Cowboys fans who are the most emotional fans on the face of the earth.
Kyle said that, by the way. I did.
It's true. It's nothing against them. They're very emotional fans. I think that's great. They're tied in with their team. That's not something I'm saying against Cowboy
Really?
fans, but that's a
Sounds-
reaction. They've been calling
Sounds
for
like
Jerry.
it sounds like you've been.
They have
you're
been
saying against
calling
it.
for Jerry Jones' head
I don't want
since
Jerry.
Jimmy
whoa,
Johnson
whoa.
was fired.
I don't want Jerry to sell the team. I really don't. He's been a great owner, with the exception
He's
that
been a great GM.
with the exception of trying to get rid of the shared revenue between the teams, which would have been a disaster.
It would have been. He wants that because then he
makes
wins.
more.
He makes
Yeah.
more because he's built a money-making machine. I'm just saying, if you look at the Cowboys' records over the last little bit, they're consistently making the
They've been
playoffs.
12-5, 12-5, 12-5.
They even if you go before that, they're consistently a playoff contender
And-
every single year.
And yet they're not signing Dak. They aren't going to sign him. He's going to go someplace else and play.
He is.
And they're not signing CD Lamb.
That's a mistake. They'll get that done. I'm just saying, like, if you look at Jerry Jones draft and develop from all of his players and the teams he puts on the field consistently, you can't with good faith say he's a bad GM. We've seen bad GMs. Look what Chicago's done. Look what Detroit did for years. Look at all these teams. The Raiders have had bad GMs. If you look at what Jerry Jones has consistently done year after year, is he consistently builds winning
Look,
teams.
I want Jerry to keep doing what he's doing. I really do, because I don't like the Cowboys. And I like beating them.
I understand
lot.
that, but you can't tell me. I've been hearing it from Cowboys fans forever that Jerry Jones is this problem, right? And yet they consistently have winning teams. They're consistently in the conversation for
But
playoffs. They're
what-
consistently in
hold
the
on.
conversation for Super Bowls.
Hold on. But what happens when he gives control over to a real football guy? The last time he did it,
He had one
Marcel
of the
got in the
greatest of
playoffs.
all time.
right.
Okay. But if you look at Jerry Jones says, listen, I can do this. And he's proven that he can. He
To his-
consistently builds winning teams.
That
You
gets-
don't hold that same stature from if you take Jerry Jones and what he's been able to do with that team and give it to any other GM, teams sing his praises for how well he's done.
We're going to agree to disagree. Yes, he's gotten some good talent. He's gotten good coaches. I still think underlying and undermining those coaches is one of the reasons they don't get to the promised land.